This week's active Amber Alert is on Bianca Jones. Bianca was born November 26, 2009, to Benica Jones and DeAndre Lane. Her parents weren't together anymore, but they all lived in Detroit, Michigan. Bianca lived with her mother, but was at her dad's often, which leads us to December 2nd, 2011. According to Bianca's mother, Benica, her and DeAndre had agreed on Bianca staying with him until Christmas. DeAndre had 7 children and had his kids at his house often, along with nieces and nephews. All of his children's mothers say that DeAndre was a good father and would always make sure the kids had what they needed. However, December 1st and 2nd of 2011 leaves a huge question of what really happened to 2-year-old Bianca. On December 1st, 2011, it is said that DeAndre was frustrated with his daughter Bianca. She had wet her bed and he had paddled her for it. The next morning, on December 2nd, DeAndre got Bianca up and dressed along with his daughter, a niece, and his 15-year-old nephew. The nephew claims that he saw Bianca awake. DeAndre then took his daughter and niece to school with Bianca in her car seat and was going to Benica's to get more clothes and stuff for Bianca. His daughter and niece both say at this time Bianca was in her car seat but had a blanket over her. This story then skips to DeAndre showing up at Benica's flustered and in shock. Benica was not home, but her sister Mary was, and she was asking DeAndre what happened, what was the matter. DeAndre, in shock, could hardly speak, just cry out. Mary called 911 and put DeAndre on the phone, and he just kept saying, "What happened to my baby?" When the police got there, DeAndre finally told them what happened. DeAndre states he was driving to Benica's with Bianca in her car seat, and a red sedan with 2 gentlemen in it started honking at him. He said he pulled over, and one of the gentlemen got out of the car and said, "Hey, your back lights are out." So DeAndre got out of the car, walked to the back of his car to look, and one of the men walked up to him, showed him a gun, and jumped in his car. DeAndre states he was begging to take Bianca out of the car, but the man drove off in his car with Bianca, and the other gentleman in the red sedan followed them. The police immediately started searching and issued an Amber Alert. About 10 minutes later, DeAndre's car was found abandoned, and Bianca wasn't in the car. At that time, DeAndre was arrested for unrelated charges, and police questioned him extensively about Bianca. He pleaded with police to please find his baby. Police, however, had already deemed DeAndre guilty of doing harm to Bianca. DeAndre didn't make it hard for them to come to that conclusion. He failed a polygraph, and cadaver dogs alerted inside the home and in the car. In March of 2012, DeAndre was charged with first-degree felony murder and first-degree child abuse. In October 2012, he was found guilty of these charges and sentenced to life in prison. DeAndre maintains his innocence. It needs to be noted that during DeAndre's trial, multiple people testified that they were sure they saw Bianca after the day she went missing, one even being a police officer. She stated when she reported this to detectives overseeing Bianca's case, they immediately dismissed her and said Bianca was no longer alive. And when a court-appointed investigator for DeAndre's defense followed up on the officer's report, he too saw the baby and was convinced it was Bianca. He too was dismissed when reported to detectives overseeing Bianca's case. At the time of her disappearance, Bianca was 2 years old. She was 2'5", weighed 25 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Bianca would now be 14 years old, and this is an age progression photo of what is believed she would have looked like at 8 years old. If anyone has any information about Bianca, please call the Detroit Police Department at 313-596-2170. What do you think happened to Bianca? Let me know in the comments.